Hello class, Dr. Rick Young speaking here. I have a very special guest for you to meet, and but before I introduce you to our guest, we are going to be talking about the Dead Sea Scrolls and how important they are. And one of the reasons that they are really important is because we had the Aleppo Codex that was available to us. That goes back to around 930 AD. And then after that, there was the Leningrad Codex that was available to us. That goes back to about 1010 AD. So that means with the book of Malachi having been finished around 450 to 400 BC, that gives you a lot of space from what we had in our hands to the original text, say, of the book of Malachi. But when it comes to the Dead Sea Scrolls, we are able to go back much closer. And we'll give you an idea what that is all about. But when you think of the Dead Sea Scrolls were found down at, of course, the Dead Sea. Here is a part of the Dead Sea. This rock was about that big. And when I was in the Dead Sea, I just kept breaking it with my hands and get down to this. I guarantee if you put your tongue on here, you will know that this is from the Dead Sea. And there's a place down there in the northern part of the Dead Sea called Qumran. And when this young Arab boy, around 1947, was out there with his sheep and goats, apparently they were lost, or a couple of them were lost. He looks for them and he starts throwing stones, and he sees caves down there, and all of a sudden he hears a clink. And when you're down at the Dead Sea, you expect to hear a thud, but there is a clink. So he climbs up into this cave and he finds jars. Now they were much larger than this little jar here. It's a replica. And when he opens up the jars, he finds some scrolls in there. This happens to be the scroll of Isaiah, not the original scroll. But there is an original scroll of Isaiah found down at the Dead Sea. And that brings me to my special guest. I'd like you to meet a gentleman that I've met numerous years ago. He was actually our Israeli tour guide when I was with him back in, it was about 2004, I believe it was. Either 2004 or 2006. And he made such an impression on me that I thought, boy, if he's ever here in Denver, I'm going to have him speak in our church. And so we've had him speak in our church numerous times. And then when I retired from being a pastor and went out to Colorado Christian University as the dean, I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could have him come out there and speak? Well, that hasn't worked out up to this point, but he and my son are writing a book together. And his name is Amir Sarfati. And Amir, just welcome.
Hey, thank you very much.
Welcome to our class.
Thank you.
And this class, actually, there are two classes that are involved in the Dead Sea Scrolls. One is how we got the English Bible, and the other is the canon and textual criticism.
Yeah.
And so we want to get back as close to the original as we possibly can. Mm-hmm. And you had an experience there in the Shrine of the Book in Jerusalem, the Israeli Museum, and there was the actual Dead Sea Scroll of Isaiah.
Exactly.
So tell us what you did.
Well, first of all, for the 60th anniversary of the State of Israel, the Scroll of Isaiah, which is one of a kind, we found, it's one of the very few that we found them intact from the beginning to the end. And it is in a refrigerated archive in Israel, in a hidden place. And for the 60th anniversary of Israel, the government, the authorities, and the Israel Museum decided that it would be nice if we brought it up for the public to walk by and see and be impressed. This is, after all, the oldest copy of Isaiah that we can ever look at. And Isaiah is one of those most important prophets that talked about many different things. In fact, as a believer, that's the prophet that led me to the Lord, in a sense.
Wonderful.
And then I decided to go and watch the original Isaiah. So
And that actually goes back to around 200 to 250 BC.
BC,
So
exactly.
now we're only like 200 years after the book of Malachi.
Which means that most likely in between the original Isaiah and the one that we hold within our hands today, there's only one copy. If you really think about it,
Yes.
that's the average. So here we are. So I was standing in line to go into that small room, the exhibit room of the Isaiah scroll. It's all, of course, covered with glass. And I took my own Israeli Hebrew English Bible with me. And obviously I thought it'll be nice if I sort of compare the text, obviously, because I thought to myself, I'm not sure if it's exactly what my Isaiah is all about, and just to verify it, I better bring my Isaiah, so I will be able to compare the two.
And you're going to read something in here
Exactly.
to us. Okay.
So in 200 BC, there was no division to chapters and verses, certainly not the way we have it today. So I was looking for that which Isaiah 42 starts with. And hen avdi etmoch bo, bechiri ratzta nafshi, natati ruchi alav, mishpat lagoyim yotzi, לא יצעק ולא יישא ולא ישמיע בחוץ קולו, קנה רצוץ לא ישבור ופשתה קהה לא יכבנה, לאמת יוציא משפט, לא יכהה ולא ירוץ, עד ישים בארץ משפט ולתורתו איים יחלו. And of course, that is the first 3 verses of Isaiah chapter 42, which are a description of Jesus. And for me, I really wanted to look at that one. And of course, after that, it was Isaiah 53, which is the most important chapter for me personally to prove from the Old Testament that Jesus, of course, is the Messiah. So I remember I looked and I could read everything.
That's amazing.
And then I looked at my Bible, and I looked again at that, and I was shocked. And then when I walked out, I was shocked that I was shocked. Because I thought, if I, as a Bible believer, believe that the Word of God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, if I believe that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever, if I believe that His Word cannot change, will not change, should not change, if I believe that no one is allowed to even change it, why should I doubt? Why should I be surprised that my Bible that was purchased in the year 2002, I think, is any different than the scroll that is 2,200 years old?
That is so amazing.
Yes, and to me as an Israeli who knows the Dead Sea Scrolls, who've been to that place so many times, it was a very, very moving experience for me.
Well, thank you so much, Amir. By the way, what you need to do is to go to your phone or your iPad or whatever you have and download Behold Israel. Amir travels the world actually, just giving prophecy conferences. And that's what the book that my son and Amir are writing about. In fact, what is the title of that again?
The Last Hour.
The Last Hour. Very important. I just can't wait until that book comes out. But anyway, I just wanted to bring you up to date to hear from somebody who actually knows Hebrew, can read Hebrew, goes into a museum, sees the Isaiah scroll from the Dead Seas, and recognizes that what was written then is what we have now.